I'm not saying I'd never have stuck a sky in a shot. I do that. And I do occasionally I'll have to do shots where I'll have to put 3 or 4 shots together. That's just the way our business has changed. But my true love is trying to figure it out and trying to do it in camera. This is a huge campaign I did for Champion. I've been shooting sports for about the last 20 years. A lot of action sports. They come to me because I bring a lot of emotion out in my work. It's about that face. It's about that, you know, whatever I need to get, victory, sadness. I direct my people is what I love to do. And I go to that place with them where I cry, or I laugh, or I scream for victory. When I direct, I get very, very, very much into my character and make my subject, who is usually a real person or an athlete, a real athlete, and make them feel very, very comfortable with where they need to go. When you're working with either a celebrity or real people, it is so important, first of all, to have respect for them and make them feel extremely, extremely comfortable in front of you so that they can give you that something special from inside. A great picture is really about something, you know, a photographer getting something or receiving something from their subject. This is William Eggleston, probably one of the greatest photographers of all time. I was down in Cuba giving a presentation with William. While he was presenting, I asked him if I could take a portrait of him, and basically moved in again, very, very much in your face. I had a 20mm lens on. The perspective here is really what makes this shot here. That cigarette, that hand so in the foreground. William kind of falling back and just a little bit, it's those eyes, but just a phenomenal photographer, and I love this shot that we got of him. I've had a very wonderful career working with John Malkovich. I met John probably about 1990. He was in a theater group called Steppenwolf out of Chicago. We made our first meeting through Steppenwolf. We hit it off very, very, very well. And I went on to shoot John Malkovich for many different campaigns, many different things that he needed. But this particular shot here was again with another campaign that I was shooting for Nikon. And this was when I was first introduced to digital. At the time, this was with the D2X. I'm sorry, I had to look up. I was shooting with the D2X. At the time, I was just getting ready. Getting ready to have an article on me in Communication Arts that was talking about the history of my work. And in that article, I had said that I believed that I was never going to turn and start shooting digital. Well, about a week before that article came out, I got a call from Nikon and asked me if I would introduce the new D2X to the world through a campaign that I would shoot with John Malkovich. Well, I had to change my mind really, really, really quick. It was a golden opportunity for me to have my name, you know, with the camera, the D2X, and at that point I made the decision to shoot digital. So what we did here is I contacted John Malkovich, asked him if I could shoot him for the campaign. Of course, he was compensated very, very, very well. We went to Croatia to shoot, and we did this beautiful series of photographs with John Malkovich. This was actually, you guys may have remembered, this was the shot that Nikon chose to show off the camera, and it was in many of the photographic magazines for about 2 years. Again, now this is the first time that I had shot digital, and I was just absolutely, absolutely blown away by the file, what we could do digitally, and how beautiful it really, really looked. I lost a little bit of that film quality, that little bit of grittiness, but today with brand new programs that come out, you can add that little bit of grit back in, and I can get so close to looking like film that it's just, for me, it's just amazing. You know, for me, there was always a romance about film. It was forgiving. It was very painterly. And my fear when digital came out is that it was going to be all so sharp that I was going to lose that romance. But slowly, as digital improved and improved, we were able to add some little grain, little grit back in, and that romance of film came back to me in digital. This is with the great Hubert Sutherland. This is why so many great rock and rollers play rock and roll. He's one of the greatest blues guys of all time.
Why you did it?
This is a campaign that I did for Nikon. I'm sorry, I gotta look at it. I'm sure it was the D3, but I just want to make sure here. Yeah. So I introduced the D3 back in about 2007. Nikon asked me to put an image together that would show low light situation. So I had to shoot this at 6400 ISO. I had to shoot at 9 frames per second. We had to show clarity, we had to show speed, we had to show saturation. So they came to me and asked me, Sandro, what would be the image that you would like to create that will sell the world on this camera? So they'll call me once a year, twice a year to come up with these ideas for them. And then I